Hello, my friends. Welcome back to Adobe Live. I'm here with my very good friend, VooDoo Val, or should I say Sith Lord Valpatine. Very fitting outfit.
That's me.
That's
I love
her.
that
How
this
you
has
doing?
become a thing with this name. It's my favorite thing.
It's a thing, yeah. I think the chat, someone put it in the chat yesterday, and I'd heard it before, and I'm like, that is definitely your name for the purpose of this week. And speaking of this week, it is Sci-Fi Week, so we are doing Star Wars inspired illustrations and designs. So yeah, tune in for the rest of the shows this week because it's pretty cool. Speaking of the week, let me show you our cool little graphic that we made inspired by Star Wars, made by our very own Andrew Hawkrattle. Super cool. So as you can see, after us, we do have Julia Vaca with the Illustrator Challenge, and then we do have Brady from Texture Labs, who is actually doing Star Wars propaganda posters. I don't know if you checked out his stream yesterday, but it was super cool. I learned a ton. He's got crazy Photoshop techniques, and his inspiration that he made the designs for and actually implemented the design was very cool. So don't go anywhere after the show. Cool. And speaking of housekeeping items, I do want to shout out that we are doing the artist spotlight a little later on today, so about an hour and a half in. And we're going to spotlight somebody from our community. So if there's anybody that you would like spotlighted in future Adobe Live shows, go ahead and hit that artist spotlight tab and recommend somebody. All right, cool. Without further ado, Val, hello, hi. How are you? Let us know what's going on for today.
I'm doing great. I'm super pumped to be here for day two. We did a lot of super awesome stuff yesterday, which I'm going to recap. But for anybody who's new, who has either never been to Adobe Live or has never met me before, my name is VooDoo Val. I am a digital painter. I specialize in like dark fantasy, horror, all the spooks, and science fiction, stuff like that. I like to do portraits. Portraits is my favorite thing, but I have been known to do a landscape or two, and I also paint monsters because
Monsters.
monsters are great. So that's me, and maybe we can dive into what we did yesterday. I did a
Yeah, let's do
tiny
it.
bit of work in between now and then. So yesterday we painted this wayfinder, which I'm very excited about, and I did add a little bit of texture onto it between our days. So as you can see, it's got a little bit of grit, it's got a little bit of grime, and I went into the designs that we painted on the Wayfinder, and instead of making them just like a gray color, I made them slightly green, like a slight swampy green, and then I put a stroke on it. So I'm going to kind of show off how I did that. This is just a texture of a black chalkboard with chalk smears on it. And all I did was I selected the, I guess the cage, the border of our like metal here for the Wayfinder, and I clipped that to it, or actually I masked the shape of it, and then I threw it on a blending mode. It's on the difference blending mode, tweaked some of the levels a little bit just to add that in there. So if I unhide it, you can see yesterday we had this, and then now with all of the grit and stuff, it just makes it a little more, I wouldn't say like realistic, but it adds like a little more texture to like the semi-realism that I like to go for. So we're going to be creating a sales post for this. So if you were to buy a Wayfinder on Instagram, as one does, we're going to make the post. Yeah, obviously that's where you'd get one. We're going to make the post that shows off its features and its price, and maybe some testimonials from Kylo Ren, because I think that would be funny.
That would be very fun.
We also did a Viper Probe droid, which I have added a little bit more detail to. So we had our little sketch yesterday, and I blocked it out with big shapes and came through and sort of detailed it. Like you can see, I really pulled it into a 3D space with just some subtle shading with my noise texture brush, and it's not 100% movie accurate. I don't really mind that. Said no Star Wars fan ever.
Are you telling me that's not canon?
It's
My
not
goodness,
canon.
Val.
But I just felt like I didn't want to spend so much time like perfecting every little detail when it's, this is something we're doing for fun. So I am actually going to kind of demo how I painted in the eyes and all of that good stuff for those of you who might have been following along or trying to learn about the techniques that I was using yesterday. I'm going to show that off real quick. And then after I do that, the plan for this one is that we will make a poster that is like a diagram of the Viper Probe droid and all of its features. We are going to be adding funny little items and stickers and things, which we will still do. I wanted to make sure I added those final details on stream where you folks can repeat your suggestions and stuff. And then we're going to do a postcard for Tatooine, which I have spelled wrong. Please do not fire me from Star Wars. But we're going to do like a quick little landscape painting and make a classic postcard piece for that. So real quick, let's go ahead and dissect the changes that I made to this Viper Probe droid. So I did go over yesterday.
Before you do that, Val, I do want to give some love for the chat. I didn't shout you all. How dare you, Paco? But I see that we do have Froja, George, Oliver, Robert, Stoney, Odari, RB. We got all the friends. So thank you so much for everybody joining us. Please let us know where you're tuning in from. And do remember that we are on be.net/Adobe Live. So if you're watching us on YouTube, any of the channels that we're casting to, that's awesome. But if you do want to take part in the chat and interact with us, head on over to that website, be.net/Adobe Live, and go ahead and chat there. And as always, this is a safe space. So this is a learning community. If you have any questions on any of the workflow that Val is doing, please shout it out in the chat. I'm always looking at it, so I will try and relay those questions as best I can.
Ooh.
So, right on. Cool.
Alrighty.
Without further ado, all right. So what was the plan that we're going to do with this Viper droid, or what were you shouting out?
So I am going to go over how I illustrated the eyes. I did go over a lot yesterday on like how I was painting I've got lightsabers in the way. Don't you just hate it when your lightsabers are blocking your hotkeys? Don't you hate that? It happens to me all the time.
I feel like you need to show those lightsabers real quick.
I do need to show the lightsabers. You're right. So I'm going to show off some of the lightsabers.
It's May the 5th, which somebody actually said it's Revenge of the 5th.
Yes, and I think it's either Revenge of the 5th or Revenge of the 6th. I think the commonly accepted one is Revenge of the 6th, but I prefer the 5th because it's back to back. What are you supposed to do in between there? Yeah. So I have a dark saber. So this is my dark saber.
Ooh, check that out.
So this is
pretty cool.
This is my dark saber. I actually have a cosplay in the work to cosplay Grand Moff Gideon. So Moff Gideon, cool. Because I just thought it was cool. It's the Pollo guy from Breaking Bad, and I always thought he was cool.
It's a great actor.
So I was like, I could just slick my hair back into a bun, get that cape, get me that breastplate armor, and carry my dark saber around, and that would be cool. So this is my dark saber.
Check that out.
I got that, and I also I've got two. I was just telling Paco they're a little beat up because my brother and I fight with these lightsabers all the time. That's awesome. We do battle with these, but I have my Anakin / Vader lightsaber, which is pretty cool. The lights aren't as impressive as I would like them to be.
There it is. Look at that. It's very fitting for your background. Check that out. It almost looks violet pink.
It does. Yeah. I think the lighting in here kind of makes it look a little pink. But so I have my Vader saber, and then obviously I'm sure no one is surprised that I also have a Kylo blade. And this one is probably
Val with Kylo Ren props. I never would have guessed.
This is probably the one that's beat up the most because I use this thing. You can't have a lightsaber and not like swing it around.
They're not dust props. You gotta swing them around.
It's been. I would like to have a collection of just the hilts to hang on the wall, but if you give me a lightsaber with a blade in it, I'm gonna swing it at something. So I do have this guy, which is
that's pretty cool. I like how it fires up one and then the side blades.
Yeah, they just shoot out. They're like, we out here.
We out here.
So that's my
Very
Kylo
cool.
Ren. But yes.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well,
So
thank you all for looking at those lightsabers. It's very fitting. Like I said, it is Sci-Fi Week. We are doing Star Wars themed stuff, so you can't do this stuff without some lightsabers.
you really can't.
You can't.
Okay. So yeah, if you didn't know I was a nerd, now you know.
Yeah.
So
We're all Star
I'm
Wars
gonna
geeks
go
inside.
over how I did the probe droid eyes. It is kind of a combination. I think I'll just do a demo eye over here. I'm gonna hold Alt and select this dark color over here and just drag out a circle for myself. And then I will make a clipping mask, just Control Shift in or Command Shift in if you are using a Mac. Make myself a new layer, and then I will make that a clipping mask to my ellipse. And I will select, I have a soft round pressure opacity brush. This is just a default brush that is in Photoshop. So you will all have this if you have Photoshop. And then I make sure to turn its mode to dissolve because it makes me a nice kind of noise brush, which is fun. And so what I did was I snagged this like light red color and kind of painted it in. I think I'll maybe make that a little bit lighter. And so yesterday we did kind of a demo where I was showing how would you bring a circle into 3D space. And so we did a lot of this like kind of making an ellipse into a sphere. And I was showing how, you know, you could take all of these different values and shades, and you could paint a circle like this and kind of make it look like it was a 3D object, which is fun, you know. So we have like an orb there, but for these eyes, I wanted to make them look like they're not opaque. I wanted to make them a little bit translucent. So how would you do that? It's a little bit different. It's not just kind of stacking the values and shades from dark to light towards the light source to make it look 3D. It's a little more in depth than that. So I'm going to come back to just our dark red color here. Maybe select a slightly brighter color. So I added this bright color in here like so. And then I wanted to get that translucent kind of vibe going. So I grabbed a dark color and made my brush a little larger. And then I added this dark center because when you look at images of like gemstones and things that are dark in color, but still translucent, it has like this dark center. So I did that. I'm going to snag maybe this color here and kind of add a little bit more around the edges. So that dark really peeks out. And then I grabbed my brightest color and I added, that's a little too large. I added this spot of light here that leaves like this little crescent shape of darkness underneath. Just to show that light's hitting it, but you can still see through a little bit. And then with a smaller brush and the same lighter color, I kind of added like this little crescent shape of light here. So it's like there's light in there almost, you know? And then I just come in with my white and like a sharper brush, and I can add a spot of lights. I kind of did like a little dual spot of light. And then I also wanted to add a spot of light down here. And you can kind of add the light dots however you want, but I think it made it look less like an orb that you can't see through and more like something translucent, a little magical, maybe something that's like crystalline in nature rather than a solid object, if that makes sense. So
Yeah. That's awesome. I mean, you did that within like 5 or 6 different brush techniques. And look at that. We got a translucent 3D red eye.
Yeah.
So, very cool.
So that's
we got a question from the chat.
Oh, go for it. Let's hear it.
Yeah. Becca is asking, how can we share our May the 4th art with Val?
You can share it in a lot of different places. I would love for you to post it and tag me on Twitter because that is where that it's easier for me to see things that people send me on Twitter, because I use Twitter a lot. I scroll through my notifications. That's kind of the best place for it. You could also post it in the game show section of the Discord or tag me in it on Instagram, but Twitter's the best place. So if you will do that, I will see it. Speaking of Twitter, if I can, I would like to highlight a member of our community real quick, and this is kind of on a whim. Let's do it. But Odari is in the chat, I believe, and I would just like to shout out Odari and tell you that I think you're wonderful and lovely, and everybody just look at this. Odari painted the Artolorians, and there's Grand Admiral Val in here, and it's featuring a lot of people from the community, and did like this whole piece.
That's very cool.
Like a poster of including me and some other people as Star Wars characters. And I saw this yesterday, and I just thought this was so cool. I felt it was very fitting for the stream and for the week this week. So give Odari a follow. Check out Odari's art. Thank you so much for including me in this wonderful Star Wars piece. I appreciate it. So yeah, speaking of Twitter, give Odari a follow. If you want to share some May the 4th art with me, post it on Twitter and tag me.
Yeah, thank you so much for showcasing that. That's very cool. I had no idea they did that. And thank you, Odari, if you're in the chat.
Yeah, I think I saw Odari, so hopefully.
I saw them earlier. I haven't seen them, but if you're there, let us know, because that's a very cool artwork. So
you rock. You rock. Ooh, I'm losing lightsabers. I'm losing them. They're falling. It's okay. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and close that, and we are going to scrub up on our skills here with landscapes. I'm gonna finally correct this the fact that I have spelled Tatooine wrong. I hope that I haven't lost any friends over this, but I just typed it out real quick. You know, I just needed to quickly look and see if it was going to work, and I wasn't really thinking about the spelling.
Real so quick, if it's not going to take too long, Val, can you show us how you made that curved text?
Absolutely, because I'm not going to use this. I'm going to create my own, so I can show you real quick, and then we'll dive into it later. So what I did was I just, with my type tool, I just came in here. Let me make sure I'm on top of everything. I'll hide my notes and stuff. I just tapped in here with my text tool, and I'm going to write Tatooine. I'm going to make sure that that is in black. And what I did was, if I can zoom in here so we can really see, I came up here. There's a little...
there it is.
A little warp text thing up here. It's like a little T on top of a Bezier curve. And I came in here to, I believe I did flag. And then I changed the bend in it, just to give it kind of a little flourish. And I suppose you could also use rise. Rise might actually be what we end up doing, because I feel like flag does it a little too much, but rise kind of gives it a nice movement while not warping each individual symbol too much. So we might actually go with rise. For now, I don't really need it, because we're going to hide that, and we're going to redo the text, because right now we're going to just focus on the painting portion.
Cool.
But we will come back to that
simple.
and do that. I think you may have gained friends. Okay, good. Okay, thank you, Tim. Okay, so I'm actually going to group all of my sketching here. Hit G. And I'm going to turn this on a low opacity. What I might actually do is start a new file just to paint in, because I want this to be like the size and shape of like a postcard. So I'm going to go file, new, and I don't remember the standard size for a postcard, but I think it's something like a 6x9 or something like that. So we're going to go 9, 6 to make sure it's oriented in like a widescreen kind of orientation. And then I'm also going to click artboards because I want to be able to add more artboards to what I'm working on. And I figure after I'm finished painting this and we make our postcard, then I can just create new artboards and start putting our other promos and art in the same file where we can see everything we've created. So I'll go with that. That looks about right as far as size and shape. I'm going to snag this group and bring it over here and just drop this in here. I may convert this to a smart object. I'll zoom out, transform it, and I'm just going to throw that right in there. I think I actually got, I guessed for how big this would be, and I think that that's actually really accurate. So that works for me. That's good enough for me. I'm gonna go ahead and zoom in here and we are going to get to painting. So I mentioned earlier that I have been known to do a landscape or two. I'm going to move this dark saber. You encouraged me to show off all of my weapons, Paco, and now I've got weapons falling everywhere.
You got weapons falling all over you.
Yeah, all over.
The dark side is strong with them.
Yes. So I mentioned earlier that I do landscapes, and this is true, but landscapes is actually not a huge strong suit for me. And despite that, I still wanted to do a landscape for you because I think that this is the kind of project that could really easily kind of transition you into a landscape way of thinking, because it's not actually necessary for you to do a huge amount of detail and stuff for a piece like this, because we are going to have like this giant, piece of text in the center here. So you kind of have to just suggest a landscape when it comes to this. And to suggest the landscape means you only really have to hit, I guess, the bare minimum, you might say. So we're going to go over those points. And then if you'd like to expand upon yours, if you're working along with me, feel free. But if you are new to landscapes or unfamiliar or uncomfortable with them, this is kind of a great bit of practice, I think. So I know that I want to have the binary sunset. If anyone you have ever heard binary sunset terms when speaking about Star Wars, it's referring to the two suns on Tatooine. I know that I want to put, yes, super iconic. In fact, it's like a lot of people get tattoos of the binary sunset, which I think is very cool. Just the two dots. I want to put a little hut here, and I want to put like some moisture towers around on the plane, and then we're going to suggest a bit of depth in the landscape here. So I'm going to kind of block this in. I'll hit F on my keyboard just to bring me into this other mode. And I'm going to change my background to black because I prefer that. And I'm just going to come in here and I'm going to sketch around. And I am going to create this element of depth on the ground here. And it does not have to be crazy. I think one of the main traps that I fall into myself when I personally start doing a landscape is I always think like it has to be incredible. It has to be larger than life. And I get so caught up in the possibilities of the future for the piece that I stress myself out and then I don't actually make anything nice. If that makes sense. So I hope that you folks will like join me and create some little landscapes and take it easy, take it slow, and just start painting away, see what you come up with. I think also doing like sand dunes for a landscape is a great way to practice because it's just sand. And I'm not going to be hyper detailed with this. But I do want to get my point across. So I'm going to use some really nice kind of swirling, waving texture and kind of suggest almost like water, I suppose, this waviness to the ground.
I think Rick has a very important question.
Okay.
Since it's a binary sunset, does that mean we need double the SPF?
You may, yeah, you may. Although to tell you the truth, I don't think anybody on Tatooine is wearing sunscreen properly.
No.
I don't think any of them are.
Maybe they have natural sunscreen since they grew up there.
I doubt it.
Hot.
I've seen some Tatooine residents looking pretty rough, to be honest.
Pretty rough.
It's pretty rough. So I'm gonna paint this ground. I'm also going to, real quick, I'm going to pull up some reference as well, just to have with me, which I probably should have done before we started painting. But then maybe I can use the opportunity to talk about where I go to find reference. One of my favorite places to go is Pinterest. I have thousands and thousands and thousands of Pinterest boards dedicated to different things. I've got some for hands and feet only. I've got some for faces only. I've got some for clothing reference, poses. I've got some for just colors. I've got some that just show paintings of very interesting lighting situations and how light plays through glass and other transparent objects. Tons of stuff that I have collected over the years that really helps me. I highly recommend using Pinterest. Also a great place to go is Behance, obviously, because Behance allows you to store like whole projects and search around for things. And it's all design oriented. I feel like when I get on Pinterest, sometimes I find things that I wasn't looking for all the time. But typically when I search around on Behance, I always find what I'm looking for.
Do you mind sharing your Pinterest inspiration, or is that private? All good. If you want to share it.
I would love to. I will make a Pinterest board of a lot of things and I will share it with you guys later. The only reason why I don't want to share it or show it is because I have a lot of nude reference in my Pinterest boards a lot of times.
Makes sense.
Which is, and I would love to give you folks like all the stuff that I use, or maybe I can link it privately, but I don't know. I feel like I shouldn't link you. But
with Adobe Live, we usually like to keep it PG. That's the guidance on content and what we say. So makes sense. No worries.
But I mean, that's part of art because I paint a lot of characters. And if I am going to paint a character, I have to know, if I'm going to paint the body, I have to know what's under the clothes, and make sure that the fabric is hanging properly and all that good stuff. Okay, so I'm gonna kind of straighten this out because I have like some pretty good reference that allows me to like really visualize, and I think that's something that is like a big struggle for me, is like my visualization when I start to paint is sometimes lacking in the department for landscapes, because I'm used to painting through the lens of, let me flip my canvas real quick. I used to painting through the lens of doing a character, and my portraits that I do, I don't always do like tons of atmospheric backgrounds or detailed backgrounds with like scenes and things. It's more impressionistic, and I like to use textures and color to suggest a mood rather than paint something very specifically in the back. And that could be for a lot of reasons. It could either be that that's how I like to do it and that's my style, or it could be that, I need some work in those areas. It's kind of a mixture of both. And so when I begin to paint landscapes, I can sometimes get a little bit discouraged and feel like I can't see or visualize what I'm going for. And so having reference up, I think, is so necessary. I see a lot of people on the topic of reference asking, is using reference cheating? Is using reference, like, will you ever be able to paint without reference? A lot of questions and concerns about using reference. And I feel like feel like people get caught up in reference a lot. Like, am I supposed to be using it? If I have to use it, does that mean that I'm not good on my own at this? That sort of thing. And I feel like reference can be used anytime by anyone, even if you are a professional that's been working in the industry for years and years and years. That is something that you should be using. And I think that it's not cheating to use reference so long as you are not plagiarizing what you're looking at for reference. You know,
I think it's not cheating at all. I mean, I think especially if you're starting out, you need it. I mean, I know some professional painters that still use reference. I follow this artist called Scott Listfield. I'm a big fan of his work. It's actually pretty sci-fi. He kind of puts an astronaut in dystopian settings. And whenever he paints, he actually Photoshop composites what he's planning on painting and then uses that as a reference to do the actual painting. He's got a reference. Kinda. Yeah, because he needs to see how the astronaut looks with the landscape. And I've seen his behind the scenes work, and I mean, as long as you get that painting and I mean, it's yours and it's not plagiarized. I mean, I don't think it's cheating at all.
Yeah, I agree. But I think, I kind of fell into that a lot too, because I was like, well, what if I'm using something as reference and it starts to look so close to, what I'm referencing, that it's no longer like you could look at it and tell like, oh, she used this photo as reference for this. I'll give you some advice. If you use reference and your piece starts looking a lot like your reference, all you have to do is when you post it, say that you referenced a piece from so-and-so. It does not diminish the value of the piece that you painted just because you relied very heavily on the work. I would say that the goal eventually would be to use the reference until you can build a visual library powerful enough to kind of fuel your own ideas, so you're not totally lost without a clue what to do every time you sit down to create. But you need to utilize reference in order to get to that point. And as you're learning, as you're utilizing reference and sort of coming to that point and developing your skill until you can do those things, your pieces might look a lot like the reference that you're using. And that doesn't mean you can't post it. It doesn't mean that you have to hide it. It doesn't mean that it's not worth enough because it's familiar. It just means, just say that you referenced a certain image and post it and show, your growth as an artist. I used to just think if it looks like my reference, then everyone's going to know, and I'm not a good enough artist. And so I need to make something different.
Nah.
Just cite your reference. And then as you get better and your pieces stop looking like your reference and you've got more of your own personal flair in there, then you don't have to. That's how I feel about it. I would love to know how everyone else kind of handles that.
Yeah, we had some comments in the chat kind of talking about it. See if I can find it. Yeah, so Tim says reference is just like a starting sketch. General Kenobi says you must do what you feel is right, of course. And right below that, actually, we have Samantha in the chat, our very own Samantha Shustari.
Yo!
Adobe Live. What's going on, Sam?
What's going on?
Everybody say what's up to Sam.
Hi, Sam.
But yeah, very well said about the reference sketches. I think that's pretty spot on. So
I've got this like sad little house going.
Is that supposed to be Luke's home house?
Yeah, like just one of the little huts that's out there. I feel like it could be better. I feel like I'm getting it down and I'm like, can I draw? But that's, I as much as I dislike the feeling of like beginning to paint something that I'm not confident in, especially when I'm streaming, it's one of my favorite things to show because I know for certain that every single person in this chat today has like started to draw something and been like, oh my gosh, this is not, and it's kind of hard to get past that ugly stage, quote unquote, and still have confidence in the work. So I'm pushing through this ugly stage, hoping to inspire more confidence in you. That's what I'm doing today.
That's awesome. Yeah, people are painting along with us. Stony says, I think I just finished my BB-8 I started yesterday. I want to do R2-D2 now. Very cool. She's doing all the droids.
Do it. I love it. I want to know who everyone's favorite droid is. Who's your favorite droid, Paco? Do you have a favorite droid?
I mean, I know the iconic ones. I mean, if I had to do it R2-D2, you just can't go wrong with the OG.
This is true.
You know,
you're not wrong.
Yeah, my partner fell in love with BB-8 while she watched the new movies.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, "Oh my gosh, that droid is so stinking cute," and I'm like, "Yeah, they made a pretty cool droid.
He's pretty adorable." I think that my favorite droid is K from Rogue One. I actually really enjoyed K.
That is a great droid. Yeah, I haven't seen Rogue One since it came out in theaters.
He's funny.
He is. Yeah. So like I said, I've been watching all the movies with my partner, and we actually watched that in theaters in New Zealand while we were there because I made her go watch it. But I haven't seen it since then. I think that was 2016. So I want to watch that movie again. I do remember him killing it as a character. I'm like, this guy's cool. Making the movie. Yeah.
He's really cool. I also will give a mention. That's my favorite droid, like from films. I think my favorite droid overall, though, like as far as games and extended universe and legends and all that stuff. Is anybody familiar with HK-47? Does anybody know who that is?
HK-47. I don't see in the chat. Someone did shout out K2. Is in some of the novels he changes hands a little bit, but he's Revan. He's Darth Revan's droid, and he is not friendly, and he does not like living life forms, but he follows Revan. Like, he really likes Revan, but I think he's like in his little droid system, he's conflicted about it. He is I can't really recite any of his jokes because I don't think that they're appropriate, but he's a funny dude. There is a story where he loses Revan, and he just starts walking across the galaxy, like, and I mean that literally. Like, he starts walking across the planet, finds himself on a ship, gets to another planet, keeps walking and keeps walking and keeps walking and walking for years, for like a decade, until he finds him again. And the whole time he's just harassing people. It's really, that sounds like a troll.
He's like, yes, he's 100% just a troll droid for sure. So if anybody knows, Knights of the Old Republic, it's like a KOTOR era. So if anybody is familiar with HK-47, welcome in.
Yeah, I just Googled him. He looks pretty intimidating.
He's an older droid too. He's like not, he's not a spry young man at all. I think maybe I don't like how I'm painting the sand. I think I want the sand to be more straight, like straight planes. And then under here, I think I'm gonna like kind of cross with a lighter color is gonna be the jam, just to kind of show off this horizon a little bit. And I think I'll add more of a dark color here behind. We'll even get an even darker color just like right here off the edge, and that's starting to look a little bit like a shadow and some kind of building or other. It almost looks more like a helmet just sitting there, but what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start adding a little bit of details. I'm gonna pull up an image of Luke's house, just so I can see it. And I'm going to fix what needs fixing. So we're gonna snag. I normally would not use the polygonal lasso tool unless because I'm selecting things like so specifically, but I am kind of enjoying this weird polygon vibe to this, even though it is like a painting. Like, it's very hard surface in a way, and I like that. So I'm gonna gonna go with it. I'm gonna keep this kind of vibe.
Nice. I love seeing all the different ways that people use Photoshop, because the guest after us, Brady, he was just talking up the polygonal lasso tool the whole time. He's like, this is what I use to mask out subjects. And, he didn't use select subject or the quick select tool. He just used the polygonal lasso tool. That was his jam.
Yeah.
Like, there's no right or wrong way to do things. Just whatever works for you. If that works for you, then by all means, go for it.
I get to mod for that stream this week. Yeah, so I'm modding in the chat after the challenge that comes up after this, and I have really been enjoying the stream. So if you guys have not been tuning in to check out Brady's work, it's Brady and Andrew Hawkrattle, and they are a hoot. They're doing a great job, and the posters are looking amazing. So if you guys need another kind of dose of Star Wars after this stream and the challenge, please come through and hang out with Brady and Andrew and me.
Yeah, we'll all be there. So yeah, great streams all around this week.
Pretty much, it's kind of a superhero lineup of super cool stuff. I feel like that makes me sound pretentious. I didn't mean that way. I mean it that way.
No, I mean I
the
have
lineup's
to agree
great.
with you.
I'm here.
Got Val as Superman.
Yeah.
No, I agree. I mean, it's been very entertaining content. As you all know, I mean, I produce these shows and run them behind the scenes. And I have to admit, this week has been very, very awesome content. I just don't say that to any. I mean, all our streams are awesome, but I've personally had a lot of fun watching these. And a lot of it probably has to do with the fact that I'm also a Star Wars geek myself. But I do think the lineup has been pretty rock solid. We got Val to come back on the guest seat, which is always awesome and a fun time. We got Brady. We had Jesus.
Jay Schuster.
Jay, who wanted original concept artist for the actual movies. That was really fun. Got a shout out to Renee. Thanks for bringing him on.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's very, very fun stuff. So yeah, it's been a great week. Very, very entertaining, fun week.
So we've got like a little settlement here. I'm going to throw in some like little tiny things here that's just supposed to look like maybe there's some cargo sitting around. I think would be cool. And I'm gonna leave it alone for a little bit and I'll come back to it. Here's a tip. If you are painting something that you don't normally paint, when you start to get a little bit discouraged when as you approach certain portions of the piece, it's totally natural, it's totally fine. Take a break from that portion of the painting and move on to something else. Move on to a new part of it. Move on to like a new area of your painting. And I think that you will find that when you move on to a new place, but you're still immersed in the work and you're still working on something, on some other part of it, something else, as other portions of the piece start to come together, you kind of subconsciously start formulating the right course of action for that other part. So I still want to come back to this, but I'm going to come over here and I'm going to add some interesting sandy kind of motion here in the ground. And I'm starting to realize that maybe I'll add some of this motion to this area over here. Maybe I'll incorporate that. And I think if I just kept staring over here at this place, that I would have just kept working on the portion that I don't like, if that makes sense. So break it up. Sometimes you need to take a break. Sometimes flip your canvas. Canvas flipping is the greatest thing. Yeah, it's cool. All of a sudden you can see your piece with new eyes, which is why I just did it just now. It works wonders. Ooh, you know what? Let me grab like a lighter. What I want to do, since we have light coming from here, and I'm not being extra fancy with the lighting, but if I put a little bit of light right here on this weird shape, I didn't even mean to do this. If I put a little bit of light on this weird curve shape, it might actually look like sand dune.
Oh, like I see kind what of you mean. Yeah, little mini sand dunes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Accidents. All I
Happy
had to do was
accidents.
go work in another part of the piece, and then
Yeah,
suddenly I've
and
got,
even flipping the canvas, right, made you kind of
yeah,
see it that way too.
yeah.
Yeah, Tim's got a good point. He says, I always have to step away for a while and come back with fresh eyes.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I think that's a very great tip. I've personally done that when I'm working on video edits. You know, you'll just take a mental break, walk around the block, and I'll come back and I'm like, oh my goodness, this looks terrible.
What
Right?
did I
Sometimes you
do?
need, yeah, sometimes you need a fresh pair of eyes. And even taking that a little further, maybe somebody that you have within your personal life that you're very close to that you can just kind of give to them to lay literally a fresh pair of eyes on them can sometimes help. So
100%.
I have a twin brother. There's somebody else out there in the world that looks just like me. We're the same height, same facial hair. We have grown up with many similar interests, and he also does video production.
Oh,
So
okay.
whenever we're working on video edits, either personal or for work, I always send him whatever it is, right? And
Nice.
he just, you know, he talks shop in that world where he's able to just see things that I haven't, because I've been staring at this edit for days now, that it's just easy to overlook things because
Mm-hmm.
you're just so familiar with the content. But when you get a new fresh pair of eyes, they'll point things out and be like, dude, did you know that you have a typo here? I'm like, I had no idea.
Yeah,
You
because
know,
you've been
thanks
looking
for
at
letting
it
me
for so
know.
long that it's the same thing. There's a word for it, and I've looked up the word for it before, but I can't remember it off the top of my head right now. When you stare at a word so long that it starts to look like it's not spelled right.
Oh,
Um,
interesting.
you
Yeah, I could
know,
totally see that.
so it's the same thing with your art. When you stare at your work for so long, you stop recognizing the mistakes because they
Right.
become familiar.
Yeah,
And so
exactly.
having another pair of eyes or flipping your canvas is a great way to go about things. So this is kind of cute. Like I said, we don't have to like make this a serious landscape. I when I do landscapes, I spend like a super long amount of time on them. And how much time do we have? We were about 45 minutes in, right?
Yeah, we're about 45 minutes in, so
Okay.
got plenty of time. We're gonna be doing the artist spotlight in about, was it 40-ish minutes? Yeah.
Okay. I don't want to spend too much time on this because we are going to do some other things, but I want to cut
Is there a
that off.
dog barking in the background, or am I going crazy? Do you hear something?
I have loud dogs, and I have two neighbors
Okay.
on either side of me that have loud dogs. I'm so sorry.
No, no worries. I thought it was the music. I'm like, am I going crazy with this
Are they?
track?
Is it super intrusive? I can't really
It's
hear
not
it 'cause
super
I have my
intrusive.
headphones in. Okay.
No. We got the music in the background that can help make
Okay.
it settle.
Smooth it over.
Smooth it over.
I was gonna say something. Oh yeah, I want to keep in mind too that we're gonna have like a huge amount of text over this. Maybe we'll throw some text in right now just so I can look at it. Because I want to see what we're actually gonna view around the edges of this.
Smart.
And I don't want to spend so much time painting something that's not going to show. I
Nice.
need to flip the painting though. So let me group that and transform it. And I'm gonna, actually, no, I'm going to, I'll duplicate. This is what I do sometimes, and I know that you can convert to smart object and all that stuff, but what I want to do is I'm going to duplicate this group and I'm going to hide it just so that I have it and I can come back to that state if I want. And
So
then
it's
I'm
kind of your
going
backup,
to,
like a checkpoint, right?
yeah, 100%.
Okay.
It's just, so I have it. And there's a lot of ways to do that, but I like to do it this way. It's easy. And then I'm going to, on this top group, Control E, just to merge all that. And then I'm going to, because when I Control T, you can see there's other stuff outside of here. And I want to flip this perfectly without flipping horizontal. I want to flip it because my text is already in here a certain way. So I am going to Control A, which selects the borders of my canvas, and Control J. And then I'll delete what I just, Control J is duplicate selection. Or if you don't have anything selected, it's duplicate layer, everything on the layer. I'm going to delete what I just duplicated from, and then I have this, and if I Control T, it's just the borders there because I duplicated that with the selection of the border of my canvas. So I only have that and none of that extra, whatever that was, on the outside. So I can flip it horizontal. And I think, what can we see? That's kind of cute. There we go. I wonder what it would look like if I squished it down, if it would look too squat. We could also bump Tatooine up. I did not even mean for it to look so nice with the flow of Tatooine, but it does look pretty nice with the flow of the bottom of the word.
Yeah.
So we've got a little sand dune, a little building in there. It's looking honestly better than I thought it was going to look. I'm pleased.
Yeah, it was a good call putting that text on there so that you know how it can affect the composition, right?
Yeah, and also, you know, really don't paint stuff you don't have to paint, because I was gonna like start getting in there and doing a bunch of stuff, and I don't have to because look how much of it actually shows. It's not that much.
Yeah, working smarter, not harder, folks.
Yes. I'm gonna turn the opacity down on this even more because I just want to see sort of where it is. I'd also like to do some formations in the sky that doesn't look just like I painted the sand. So I'm gonna peek because I have a Pinterest board of clouds.
Clouds.
So I could just look at clouds and see how people are doing clouds. Also, I think it's really, so I think you should always use photo reference when you do use reference. I think you can use other people's art as inspiration and reference sometimes, but while I do look at artistic renditions of clouds in this example, I do like to pull up pictures of actual clouds too, because this is really important, and this is something I learned the hard way. When you use photo reference for your artwork, you take that reference into you and you illustrate or paint or design your interpretation of life from that photo. When you only use other people's art as reference, your art becomes your interpretation of someone else's interpretation of life, if that makes sense. So other people, they might have techniques and things that you like, and I say go for it and test out those techniques. And if you see something like, oh, I love how this person painted this, I want to try that technique and try that approach, that's great. I do that all the time. But when you're working on a piece, I would say always try to keep in mind the real life version of what you're trying to illustrate. Get some facts in there and observe it for yourself so that your style doesn't develop into something that looks like somebody else's, or you never learn really how to interpret the world through your own creative voice because it's derived from somebody else's idea of what it's supposed to look like. I hope that makes sense.
It does. I think that's a very, very good pro tip. That's a good thing about watching these streams, right? As you said, Val, you learned that the hard way. And maybe that wasn't shouted out to you early in your artistry career, but now that you know, could give you some good pro tips moving forward in your career. I
say that I learned it the hard way because I spent a lot of time. I wanted to paint like a very particular artist. I wanted to paint just like him. I thought that his art was like the greatest thing since sliced bread, and I was like, I gotta learn how to do this. And what I found myself, myself in this situation where I was painting, and I was painting the way I thought that he painted, and I was trying my darndest to get everything right exactly like he was doing things. But what I was doing was, number one, I was not focusing on the basics of art and design. I was skipping over all of the anatomy and lighting and perspective and like all these things, which you don't need to be a master at to make art. You can make art in any place, any way, for any reason. but I wanted to be somebody that painted for a living, and I was ignoring the lessons that I should have been learning artistically in favor of essentially copying this other artist, because I wanted my work to look like his super bad. And what I ended up finding myself in, the position I found myself in, was I had spent a few years working on my art, spending a lot of time, people commenting on my art saying, hey, that kind of looks like so-and-so's work. And then when it came down to actually getting a job and doing work for a client, I realized that not only had I spent a bunch of time trying to emulate an artist that I admired, I also only learned to draw the things that he drew most often. I didn't really have a basis for how to approach something on my own, because I've been leaning on somebody else's creative voice for a long time. So, he drew dragons and stuff, but it's like not every client is going to ask me for dragons. And so maybe this is like an oddly specific situation, but it really messed me up for a while, where I was just like, oh my gosh, what have I been doing? And then I heard somebody say, like, have you been only using this guy's art as reference? And I'm like, well, I just, I want to be like him. And he's like, yeah, but you need to be like yourself, and be somebody who admires other artists, but you need to be like yourself. And you need to look at real reference and understand what you're painting, and not just try to put the lines down like somebody else does. When I started doing that, kind of changed how I approached art altogether.
Yeah, I think the chat agrees. Brendan says good advice right there, Val.
It's highly situational too.
Say yes, so such good advice. No, I mean, I think it's great. I think just kind of basing your art based on one person, it could definitely get you going in the right direction. But as you said, it's, now it's surprising. Oh, it kind of looks like so-and-so. It's like, oh, do I really want to be known as the person that is looking like that person? So
yeah,
I like the idea of the inspirational cocktail.
Yeah.
Right. Where you look at all these different references, all this different inspiration and mood board, and then you take little bits of each one, right? And you kind of formulate it into your own cocktail of art. And I think that's a great way to kind of get started in the creative, whatever your discipline may be. And then the more you stick with that, the more I think you may and will be able to find your own path, or your own artistic interpretations, or your own what's the word I'm looking for?
Your own creative voice,
your own art, I guess. Yeah, your own creative,
your own style. And I think that too is like a big thing that I see a lot of people asking. It's like, how do I find my style? How do I,
style? Yeah, that's the one.
How do I find my style? Everybody, everywhere, all the time, every day wants to know, how do I find my style? And I think
it's a journey.
I actually made a video on it, and it's on YouTube, of how you find your style. But some cliff notes for it, if you're curious. I believe that finding your style is a collection of a lot of things. Most importantly, I think that your style is your interpretation of the world. It's the way that you look at life, and you problem solve to figure out how to get that down on the canvas. And everybody takes their own natural approach, inspired and influenced by other artists, but your style is how you problem solve in art. It's how you decide to approach something. And other people's style, you could come about it like saying, oh, you know what, I really love cross-hatching. Cross-hatching brings me joy. I want to do a bunch of cross-hatching. And then you're known for a style that includes a lot of cross-hatching. That's fine. And that is also another way that you can develop it. But regardless of how you, where's the end of this? Regardless of how you, there we go. Regardless of how you, approach things, as far as like techniques that you like to use and colors you like to use and all that kind of stuff, there's still this basis in your interpretation of the world around you and how you problem solve to get that onto a canvas determines a great deal of the style that you have as you start to become more comfortable doing exactly that. And so I think that for me personally, when I started to think about it that way, I stopped worrying about when I was going to find my style so much. It stopped bothering me. I stopped, feeling like I'm not going to find it, or I need to try something new, or I need to do this other thing. I stopped worrying about it because I was like, if all I have to do is learn how to paint something, and then my style will come through based on how I feel comfortable approaching painting that thing, then in order to find my style, all I have to do is just spend time creating.
Yeah. We do have some questions from the chat that I want to get to, Val.
Oh, please.
I see you, friends. Don't worry. I'm always reading the chat. First of all, I see Keita Jones in the chat. What's up?
What's up, Keita?
She said, what's going on? So I see you, Keita. It's good to see you in the chat. She has a question. Are you using a tablet?
I am using a Wacom Cintiq 16 HD.
Nice.
Yeah,
cool.
So I've got my little display tablet. I used a regular tablet for many, many years though. And as I said yesterday, if you can't afford a Cintiq, that's totally fine. Use a tablet. I used a tablet for a long time, and it served me very well.
Very cool. And then another question. How do you network and connect with clients / fellow artists?
I've made a lot of friends over the years in the art industry because I've just been streaming and talking to people for so long now. But when I first started out and I was like, how the heck am I going to find clients? How do I get people to follow me on social media? How do I get people to care about what I'm doing and look at it? I started streaming. I streamed on Twitch. I started streaming on Twitch in 2014, and all of a sudden I've been posting my art online for years. And after one stream, somebody asked me if I'd draw something for them for money.
After one stream,
that's all it took, huh? Wow. And it like totally shocked me because I'll tell you, my very first art stream I ever did, I ruined my painting because I was so nervous, my hands were shaking. Oh, and I was terrified because I had been streaming on Twitch. As a gamer, I was like, I'm going to be a pro gamer. I'm going to play Hearthstone. I'm going to be the greatest Hearthstone gamer girl in the world. And it turns out I love video games. I love to play them, but I'm not very good at them. So that didn't work out. It didn't happen for me. And then somebody was like, hey, you said you draw pictures, right? And I was like, yeah. And they were like, you should stream because Twitch has this fun thing called Twitch Creative now. And that was like the dawn of streaming for me. And I started. And then I went from Twitch to Adobe on Twitch, and then from Adobe on Twitch to Adobe Live on Behance. But when people can come and look at your work and watch you, somehow I got more requests for, and clients than I ever did streaming, than just posting my work online and stuff. And it's like, I feel like streaming networks for you, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I can.
And there is no shortage of internet personalities or people looking to become internet personalities or people who are looking to be influencers or YouTubers or Instagram people. There's no shortage of people like that who need somebody like you to draw them an icon, make them a banner, design them an overlay for their video. Like, there are so many people who are looking for someone to create pieces of art like that. And you can start with that. And those are easier jobs. And that's what I did. I designed emotes for Twitch. I made overlays for gamer streams. I designed, painted little icons so that people could have a drawing of themselves as their icon on Twitter, stuff like that. There's always somebody who is looking for that kind of work. By the way, I'm warping, so I've painted, I really like these cloud shapes. I feel like it needs to be more dramatic. So I just transformed this layer and I'm just gonna warp this and kind of give it, I think, like a little arc. I think that could look cool. I'm not sure, but I just want to give it kind of a different vibe. So I'm doing that.
Nice. Looks good. Do want to shout out, we have the artist spotlight countdown that popped up a little bit ago. So we have about 25 minutes. Now we'll stop the work and spotlight somebody from our community. We gotta figure out how we're gonna show that actually.
I
Do you have it?
Yeah,
I can
I
send
can.
it to you. I'll send it to you on that Slack channel. I'll dig it
Yeah.
up, Val, and then you can just pull it up whenever it's time to do that. So I'll do that on the back end. We got another question from the chat from Chelsea. They're asking, how do you get people to pay instead of doing the dreaded, I'm an influencer, so it should be for free mindset that seems to be so prevalent?
It happens all the time. It happened to me like 2 weeks ago, where somebody was like,
Oh boy.
you know, come and do free stuff for me, and I will shout you out, and I'm super important and popular, and my company's great, and that would really work wonders for you. That would really be great for you. Let me tell you a bit of information that will help you not feel bad about turning them down and being very blunt with a no thank you when it comes to people like that. If a company or a single influencer has so much clout that the mere mentioning of your name by them would bring you enough money to support yourself, they would be able to afford to pay you. They would be able to pay you how to do it, like to do that for them. I can't think of a single company or influencer out there who just mentioning your name to people and saying, oh yeah, Saya Luna painted this for me, and then all of a sudden you get flooded with money. I can't think of a single person who has the power to do that who can't also pay you what you're worth. So there's, I just can't think of one where it works that way. So I would say, no, sorry. There are some free jobs that you could maybe do. I've done some free work for people that I thought, like they're pals of mine or a family member or something, and I'm just like, yeah, I'll help them out. I'll do this. Or somebody who, I've done a few free icons for streamers that were just getting started, didn't have any money to pay me to do it, and I just was like, I'll sketch you an icon, and help you out, because I remember being at that point. But if I do free work, it's on my terms. That's it's on my terms.
Yeah, I like the answer is, hey, sorry, exposure doesn't pay the bills.
Yeah.
So
not gonna
but
work.
I think what you said, yeah, it's if you think you're so big that, oh hey, I'm gonna shout you out, that's gonna be great for you. Well, if you're so big, then you have money.
Yeah.
You should have money if you're even offering this. So.
And you can pay me what I'm worth, and that's the
I
thing. But also when it comes to dealing with clients, I think this is good. I think I'm gonna leave it like this. I could maybe add some more details at some point, but I like this. So we're going to start designing this, I think. I think that when it comes to clients in general, talking about your price or their budget or both right off the bat is a great rule of thumb. I've never had somebody actually pay me or not become a problem who didn't want to talk about money at the very beginning. That's a red flag. If
yeah, it's 100% a red flag. I agree.
If they're beating around the bush about what they can do for you and what you can do for them, and you ask them, what's your budget, or just anything pertaining to money, or mentioning your prices to them, and they gloss over it, and what they do, this is like a common thing, is you say, hi, yes, I am open for work. I could do this. These are my prices, or what is your budget, and tell me more about your project. If they gloss over how much money you want or how much money they have and go directly into telling you all about what they want you to do for them and what their project is about, they're just talking about themselves. They're not giving you any indication that they intend to pay you at all. That's bad news. Anytime that's ever happened to me, it's been bad news.
Yeah, I think Tim's got a good point, and I've seen this a lot actually in the industry, but he's saying, I also get a deposit, usually 30 to 50% depending on the job. So yeah, I mean, if
Yeah.
if they're not willing to pay a deposit up front just to get your services contracted, then I think that's also a big red flag. And I think
100%.
anybody that's legit and is willing to pay for artists and their worth, then they'll usually be okay paying a deposit. Just kind of establish that handshake and get the ball rolling.
Yeah, I ask for 50% up front. There's been a couple times where a company, like sometimes larger companies that work with you, they will not give you 50% up front. They'll give you a smaller percentage since it's the first time they've worked with you. And that's happened to me a few times. But I always ask for money to start. I'm not going to jump into 3 months of work for you and have nothing, you know, and I'm just working for free until eventually I get paid. And that becomes more prevalent and more important the larger the jobs are that you start to take. But even when I was just, you know, drawing little icons for people, send me 50% of the money. I want to know number one, I want money while I'm working. I want to survive while I'm doing the project. And number two, if you say that you don't want to send me 50% of the money, you might not have been gonna send me the money at all.
Yeah, you can't afford me.
Yeah. So,
and it's good to know your worth, right? You know,
yeah.
Val, you're probably at that point in your career where you know what you're worth and you're not going to accept anything lower than that. And that's good, right? You know, if people can't afford you, they can't afford you.
Yeah. So. And I do still get really nervous about it, though. I will say I have a very strict policy on what I will and will not do, what my prices are. But that does not mean it's not difficult for me to lay down the law, so to speak. I'll say I do still struggle with it sometimes, especially when I'm dealing with an unpleasant situation. That happens sometimes where people are, you tell them what you can and cannot do for them for the amount of money that they have available. And sometimes people get mad. That happens every once in a while, not often, but every once in a while. I have a lot of anxiety about naming my prices sometimes, even though I've been naming my prices for the better part of a decade. But it still happens, you know, you still get nervous. My advice to you, if you are nervous about things and you're learning how to do all this and feel like you lack a little bit of confidence when it comes to it, is I have a list of the boxes that I need to check, the T's to cross, the I's to dot whenever I'm approaching a new client. And I've practiced writing out the wording for certain things, depending on whether I am dealing with a very pleasant, understanding client or somebody who has a bad attitude. And I've practiced these things so that if I find myself in that situation, I don't feel like I am lost and stranded or scared, and I can stick up for myself.
Yeah, you know how to deal with it.
Yeah.
I think Carol has a good point. Even with a proof of stamp over it, they get your ideas. That's a good point. You know, if you're having trouble with people paying for whatever reason, what I usually do when I used to freelance a lot with video edits is I would put a big old fat work in progress stamp over it, right? And or I would just put my name on it, like Francisco Siller, not final. And then I'd send it to them. And then they'd be like, hey, let's get rid of that watermark. I'm like, yeah, as soon as you pay, as long as you pay, I'll get rid of it. And then, you know, the next day I see a transfer into my PayPal balance. So that trick worked very well.
Yep.
You know, they got the final product. It's within their reach, but you just have a giant ugly watermark on it. And you're like, hey, you want that off? Pay the rest of the 50%. So
I am actually really happy with this, like the way that
it's looking great.
The suns look, because I
binary sunsets, I think, made a lot to it too. It's very cool.
I feel like it adds, like having the little sun on the dark cloud and the larger sun over the white looks really cool. I don't know where I'm gonna put the text though, because we need to put I want to put greetings from Tatooine, and then I want to put double the sun, double the fun.
Double the sun, double the fun.
I feel like it's perfect. Greetings from ... And I had a Caligari script. I wanted to do that. I feel like this is warped in some way, so I need to get in here and look at my character styles. Black and the heck's going on? I feel. Hold on. I'm not in my character styles. Okay. Yeah, that needs to be at 100. No, I don't want to type 100. Come on, Photoshop. I want to type 100 in here because that was, it's like, there we go. Now it's the proper ratio. Now it looks like it's supposed to look. And I might want to arc this text too. I don't know if that's going to look great, but maybe the greetings from can be right here or up here or. Let's see if we can, let's see if we can kind of curve this a little bit. I think arc, and we'll bring it down this way. I just want to do this very slightly, and I don't know if that's gonna. Come on. I'm gonna bring this down here. I think I can arc the other side of it. Yeah, horizontal. There we go. Just so that it kind of comes up a little more on that side. And I don't know if it's enough to make it the design choice look very deliberate. And that's the thing when you're gonna do something fancy, it has to look deliberate. And if it doesn't look deliberate, it looks like you made a mistake. I think the from is a little too scrunched. I don't know how I feel about it. What's everybody doing in chat?
We're just hanging out. We're talking a lot about clients dealing with rates, how you go about setting your rate, how you feel comfortable doing it. You know, oh man, it's a fine line, and there's so many books out there and information about how to handle rates and clients. But I'm gonna take it one step further and say that it's really something that you're gonna dial in the more you do it. Right? So yeah. I don't expect anybody to just figure it all out the second they start freelancing. There's gonna be a lot of trials. There's gonna be a lot of errors. But that is how you learn, and the more you stick with it, and I promise you this. The more you stick with it and the longer you do it, you will figure it out, right? And you're going to find out something that works for you and something that works for clients, and you're going to be more comfortable billing clients. You're going to be more comfortable with those services that you can provide, and you're going to be more comfortable pricing your work according to what you think you're worth, right? But definitely do your research. You know the area that you live in, know what the market's like. There's a lot of great communities out there that you can kind of decide what the good market rate is going for the services that you provide in your area. So definitely go off of that and then know how you compare to those services so you have a good baseline to start off with.
I'm looking at classic postcards too, by the way. That was excellent what you just said. I totally agree. And I'm pulling up some new reference because I kind of want to see how other classic postcards do. Some of them actually do curve the text and some of them do not, like the secondary text, as far as like the greetings from and this and that, and they have a greetings from Narnia, Kingdom of Aslan. I love this.
General Kenobi says, good, twice the price, double the pay. Very good reference. Very good Count Dooku reference.
Okay, let's do a flag for this one too.
Just a quick time check, Val. We got about 10 minutes before we're going to jump into that artist spotlight. But as always, we will have some time to come back and do any last minute finishing touches.
Okay. I am... Oops. What I'm going to do is I'm going to change this distortion real quick. I'm going to turn that down to 0. I am going to kind of leave this for now. I'm going to put some texture in the Tatooine text, and I am going to, why is my libraries open? I don't want my libraries open. Stop. I'm going to add a little bit of texture into Tatooine, and I'm going to close these real quick because they're bothering me. I'm not sure. I think I just clicked a button that I've never clicked in Photoshop before, because now all of a sudden I've got a lot of stuff happening in my workspace that I don't like. Can I fix it? Perhaps.
What's going on? Is it grouping these all your layer panels?
Yeah, that's what I want, is for it to just be hovering like this, but for whatever reason it was like showing all of stacking. Yeah, and this is super long for some reason. I don't know why. I just moved it onto my other.
Oh, okay, I was like, it disappeared.
Yeah, because it's like appearing very long, and I need to. Sorry about that. That's odd.
No worries.
That sort of works. Let me make it slightly shorter. I'm gonna put some texture into the Tatooine text. I'm gonna overlay some subtle colors in there, and then we can. I think this one will be mostly done, and then we will throw some graphics on the other pieces. I think this one looks actually pretty legit right now. I'm not sure how I feel about the curved text. I might do a version of this text that does not have the wave and just see how that works. Just kind of experimenting a little bit with it. Double the sun, double the exclamation. Because I do I don't want it to be super empty at the bottom here. And I feel like having the text down here is cool. It doesn't really go all the way over though. So I don't know if that looks the best it could look, but I think maybe we won't worry about it so much because I can always tweak it later. I think we've got a pretty good chunk of design done on it, and I'm proud of it.
Yeah, it's looking great. I do like the double the sun, double the fun in the bottom right. I think it does a good job utilizing that space there.
Okay. I guess I could also do like a little quarter turn kind of thing for this greetings from, and it doesn't have to be slanted or waved in any way, because a lot of them also have that where it's just turned slightly. Some of them flow with the curve of the word, and some of them don't. So I don't think that I have to do that. And I think that that looks a little bit better, kind of at least turned at that angle that it has. And I can maybe make it a little smaller because this can be slightly smaller if I want it to. Just throw it there. I just don't want it to start a tangent with the edge of the sun and the sunset. And I don't want it to be totally straight and getting closer to this T than it was to this T. But this probably works. This will work.
Yeah, and the community agrees. Kita's saying, I love how this is turning out. General Kenobi says, this brings balance to the Force. Saya
Yes.
saying they love it. So yeah.
I'm so glad.
The community agrees. It's looking good.
Okay, let's go ahead and group this and let's throw some color on it. You said we have about, I'm sure we have like 7
We have about
minutes.
6 minutes until we'll hop on over to the artist spotlight for a little bit.
So let's finish this one, and then when we come back from the spotlight, we'll throw some text and some graphics on the other pieces. I'm going to do, I don't think that Tatooine, while it has a sky and everything, I don't think Tatooine really has like a blue sky. Let's be honest. I don't think it's that sort of place. I think it's
got that
tan
it's
and
like
tan.
Yeah, it's like, have you seen the meme? It's like Mexico on film. It
Yeah,
just has like that like sepia orange tone filter.
100%. That's
That's kind of
exactly.
what that's the vibes I get with Tatooine. It's not blue, it's just very orange tinted.
It is filmed Mexico, 100%.
Film
I wonder
Mexico.
I
It
wonder
cracks me
where it
up.
was actually filmed. I don't
Uh,
know actually know where those scenes
Tatooine?
were filmed. Yeah.
Yeah, so I know some parts of it were actually filmed in Tunisia. I
Okay.
think I'm saying that right. Oh gosh, somebody correct me if I said that wrong. I'm gonna feel awful. But then they actually filmed some of it in Death Valley as well here in California.
Okay.
So there's a lot of places they filmed in California during the OG movies. I am a huge fan of the redwoods. I think they're some of the
Oh yeah.
coolest things to ever exist. You can
Yep.
only find them in one place ever in the world, and that's in California. So fun fact, in Endor, they filmed that in the redwoods in Mendocino, which is in Northern California. So I remember driving through there with my partner. I'm like, man, this is Endor. It's so cool.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Get you a little speeder.
Get
Get
a
you
little
out there
speeder
with a little
bike.
hat
Yeah, I want to get
on.
like Luke's lightsaber and like dig it there and take a picture and be like, oh yeah,
Yep.
Luke was here.
Yep. All right, so I'm adding some colors. I like these colors. They're not, like crazy Tatooine. I think what I can do is I can come in with like a soft round brush and like do some like yellowish highlights, I think. But I think that just for adding color really quick, that's pretty cool.
I think this is looking awesome.
Thanks. I'm
Like
starting
awesome
to be
enough where I
pretty
want to
happy
hang
with
this
it.
up in my wall.
Yeah.
It's so
Aw.
cool.
I'm so glad. I'm having fun with it. And I
Yeah, it's
think that
very
I
fun.
would also come in and maybe I'll do a tiny bit of it just because I know we're coming to a close here or coming to a stop with the artist spotlight. But I would take like a darker shade of this and just kind of bring out the details of it just a tiny bit more. So like not all this stuff is just like lost and it has its own definition over here and it's not, so I would just kind of bring that out on the side there again. But I think this is good. And then the last thing, what time is it? We still got like 4 minutes.
Yeah.
I'm going to come into this Tatooine, this top white Tatooine, and I am going to create a new layer and I will make this a clipping mask and I'm going to grab some of these colors. This is almost like, I guess it's more sunset, actual sunset colors, even though we have the binary sunset up in the sky. But I don't think that matters too much. I'm going to paint in here. We'll get some of this and just put
Nice.
some color in here. And I want it to go in a different direction than, so like for the clouds are going like, from bottom left to upper right. And I want this to go from top right to bottom left with that like kind of vibe. And I want it to also be slightly different from the movement of the text itself, because if the text itself matches the movement perfectly, then I think it'll start to look a little too uniform. And we kind of want a little bit of something in here, like a little, so that not everything's looking flat. So I'm just gonna something
Love it.
something
It's
is
coming
an
out so
official
cool.
term, by the way. It's an official art term, just a little something. That's how.
Just a little something.
Yeah, this is something. But I might, what I'm trying to do here is kind of suggest like how rock forms and has, various layers to it. I might just paint bucket in some of this yellow color too, maybe a little bit less, and clipping mask that, and then kind of hit it with a blending mode just so it's
Blending mode,
yeah, just a little bit. That looks kind of cool. That streak of red in there is a little harsh, but ooh, that's kind of cool. Let's grab my hue and saturation. Let's make that a little bit darker.
Kind of getting are you familiar with the Badlands in Utah?
Sort of.
Yeah, it's got crazy rock formations that just have different like gradient colors all within that spectrum.
Like in
So
slices.
it's very cool. Very yeah, like in slices.
Yeah.
It's like very deserty, very dry, but yeah, I like that touch to it.
Thanks. And then
Saya
I think
saying,
it's
"Wow,
almost...
insane! I love Val arts so much."
Aw,
I think
thank
we
you.
all do. Saya.
I'm so glad you guys are liking it. I'm having a really good time painting
it's
it.
very fun.
So I'm having a blast. But I think it's probably time for our spotlight now, I assume,
That
right?
it is, yeah. Yeah. So
Okay.
I sent it to you on the chat. So if you want to bring it up, we can just go over that together real quick.
Yeah.
We'll have a little bit of time to go back to the design.
So our artist spotlight today is a friend of mine.
Oh, yay. Very cool.
And I really love his art. If I can find a way to like actually center this on my screen. So this is Jay Hansen Arts. Some of you might actually recognize him. Jay Hansen is a streamer on Twitch. Super nice guy. He does a lot of like comic book, Marvel themed kind of stuff, and I think his posters and things are just really cool. He does a lot of stuff with just like the form of the faces and stuff that he does, I just think are so funny. He does like a lot of really funny pieces as well, which I just think are...
Is this...
Why not, right?
Did this actually happen in
I don't think so.
Sunny, or did he make this up?
I have no idea.
If he made this up by himself, it's amazing.
This is really cool. But he does...
That's hilarious.
He does so many things that are just so cool. And he also does a lot of like practice streams in the community where he does like... what's the word I'm looking for? I just spaced on this word. Like studies and things, you know, he's kind of just a really positive, encouraging dude. I think he's a great artist, and he has so many pieces that just crack me up. This one is probably one of my most favorite pieces that he has. I want this on my wall. I was like a huge fan of Kingpin. Especially specifically in the Marvel TV shows that are out right now. And this painting of Kingpin, I feel like is like seriously, good. It's just super legit and super cool.
Yeah, I like the cityscape in the bottom too. I just noticed that.
Yeah, and just like putting it on a card, I feel like works. Just the whole framing of it is really great. And then the cityscape not only is a nice touch, but it also really ties in the white silhouette of the crown behind him with like the nice texture. And I just feel like it's just a really well-rounded piece. And I love it. So this is one of my favorite ones. I want to scroll through and find, because he has like a lot of he does like a lot of studies, a lot of movie studies and things, which are really cool. This is one of my favorite ones that he did.
Yeah, this looks great.
Like his sense of like form and color and lighting and everything is really great. But he has some Star Wars in here, which I'm gonna find.
Ooh, I saw
Star Wars. Yeah,
there
so there's some Star Wars in here. And then I think actually my second favorite piece that he has ever done is in here somewhere. He did a
John Wick. That was
this
awesome
right here.
one.
Dude, look at this Thanos. It's so
That's
good.
pretty cool.
It's so good.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite pieces. This one and the Kingpin one, they just like really get me. So
Val, you are a baddie, aren't you? Val loves her villains.
I do.
She loves her villains.
And it doesn't hurt that he's painted them just so well. Like I was looking at this, and this is one of the pieces that I like. I thought when I looked at it, like I want to practice trying to paint a face like this, like, because I would never think to add all of the detail in his lips and his chin and his forehead and all that stuff. It's not like a style that really comes naturally. So when I saw this, it inspired me. I was like, I have to paint something right now. And that's what Jay Hansen's work does to me a lot, is like I look at his work and I have to paint. So I hope that you folks will give him a follow and check him out.
Everybody go give him a follow. I think his work is amazing.
Yeah, he's got
Nicolas Cage.
The Nick Cage is so good.
You can't cage the Nick.
Yes, you can't. You really can't.
You can't cage the Nick. That's great.
So yeah, check out
Yeah.
Jay Hansen.
Check out Jay Hansen art, everybody. Everybody give him a follow.
Yeah.
Throw him some love. I think he's got amazing art. Very inspirational.
We'll
That
look
John
at the
Wick one
John
is
Wick.
amazing.
Yeah.
Did he
we'll
actually
look at
do that in the movies? I haven't seen all of them.
it. I think this might be.
But this is an amazing scene.
Like, I haven't seen the John Wick movies in a while, but this to me, I didn't know if it was John Wick or if it was just specifically Keanu Reeves. Or
I think I might know where it is. I think they revealed he was going to be in Cyberpunk.
Oh,
and
okay.
someone yells something like, "You're amazing."
You're
and then he's
breathtaking.
like, no, you're amazing. So
Yeah.
it might have been that, which is an amazing capture and rendition of that scene. So very cool.
That's great. That's also like
it.
who paints a hand from this kind of perspective and makes it look right. I can't
Yeah,
do that.
that's-
Like
we
just
all
like the
love-
finger straight on. I
Yeah.
can't do that.
We all know Val loves painting hands.
Yep.
We learned that.
It's my favorite
So,
thing. Painting
It's our
hands.
favorite thing.
I do so
100%.
love it. I'm a connoisseur of painted hands. All right. But yeah, give Jay Hansen art a follow.
Yeah,
He's
give him a
great.
follow.
He's
Great
my
dude.
hero. Super nice guy too. I think you folks will really enjoy talking with him.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So
Cool,
how
thanks
much
for
about how
spotlighting
much
him.
time?
Very
Oh,
cool
no
with that.
problem. My pleasure.
We have
Like 20 minutes.
15 minutes.
Okay.
Do I do math right? No, I'm
You
a
may
creative
have.
writing major, friends. If you didn't know that, math is not my strong suit. You will learn that.
Math is not my
So,
strong suit either.
I'd say about
I
15 minutes.
struggled with math all through school. Don't feel bad. It
Yeah,
happens to a lot
I
of
wrote
us.
for college.
I love writing myself. I think it lends itself to storytelling in art as well. I like to write stories and paint the characters for it and all that kind of stuff. Writing is, I don't know, like, do you write, is it like more of a journalism type thing, or is it like
It's-
stories?
yeah.
Or
Good question. I originally wanted to be a journalist in
Okay.
college, but I actually messed up. I didn't apply in time because, college, you procrastinate, and I just was not
Mhm.
on top of it. So then I went into creative writing, and the main goal there, my brother and I have always been super into film and video. So he was in film school, and then the goal was for me to write movies, so I'll be a screenwriter, and then he would direct them. That was our ultimate goal. And we somewhat kind of do that, right? So we're both in video production now. That's what we do professionally. And we do make personal videos, and I actually do write the scripts for those. And then he usually films them, and then we'll take turns filming them. So we did kind of go in that path. But yeah, it's just video production was always the end goal for both me and my twin. So yeah, I think it worked out.
That's
or
awesome,
less.
dude. That's
Yeah.
crazy. I also create stuff with my brother as well. He also writes and I write, and so we write stories
Very fun.
together very often, and I illustrate them, and he makes music for them.
Oh, how
And
fun.
It's taken a
Yeah.
while to get off the ground. We've tried to announce it a few times, but it's like a really heavy project that we're trying to do. But we've been recording our own audiobooks for the stories that we write together, and then each story has its own like theme song, and my brother has like written music and composed music for it, and we have like the sound effects in there and everything. It's just a lot of stuff to do, so like to like release one and feel like it's finished. But yeah, so I make cool stuff with my brother too. It's
Very
a good time.
fun. Yeah,
hanging
it's
out with
awesome.
siblings.
We're very close. We're twins, so we're best buds. So it's fun. It's fun to collab.
We are not twins, but my brother likes to tell everybody he's older than me. That's the deal, and it doesn't help
And is
that no, he's not. I'm the oldest of all of my siblings, but I look the youngest. So my brother is 25, 26, and he is 6'4". And
Tall
I look like a small child next to him, even at which I feel like I'm tall, at 5'9". I feel like I'm not a short person, but I look much younger and much smaller than my brother. And he introduces me as like,
Hey,
oh
youth
yeah,
is
this
a
is my
great
younger
thing.
sister. This is my younger sister Val, and I'm like,
Yeah.
And
I
you
always
look
looked younger for my age too.
Did you really? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Before I could grow this, and I
The
was
beard,
wanted to look
yeah.
older, but now that as I'm getting older, I'm like, hey, I'll take the youth. I'll take the youthful looks.
I feel like when somebody says that you're younger than them and then you argue in public that you're not younger than them, the more you argue, the younger you seem too. So it's like it's a trap.
It can work. It's a trap.
It's a total trap. You cannot handle memes of this magnitude.
Uh-huh.
Hey.
That's awesome.
Okay, so
all right, where are we at with this postcard? We have about
I'm gonna
now we
leave
have
the
15
postcard.
minutes. I told you I was bad at math.
Yeah, I'm
So we
good
have-
with the postcard right now. I'm
Okay,
gonna
it's
put
looking
this
good.
into am I gonna change this? I don't think I'm gonna change this. I'm gonna change this to like 7 inches by 7 inches just to make it a square. And we're gonna throw in the wayfinder. Heyo. Just throw this in here.
Okay, a little Easter egg.
Boom. Yeah, we're gonna
There you
throw
go, check
not
that out.
into the actual thing. We're gonna make the promo for it now. So we're gonna shrink this down.
Let's get some promos.
Yeah. We're gonna throw this in here. And then I'm gonna bring the it's transforming. It's working on it. I'm gonna bring the droid in as well. So I'm just going to come over here with my artboard tool. By the way, artboard tool is right behind your move tool. And that artboard tool allows you to, you can, drag and create new artboards. You could also create artboards like this. If I come over here and select this artboard and make sure I have my artboard tool selected, I could just boop, click that plus button, and then I could drag this down however I like right here. I'm going to make this 9 by 11, and we're going to throw our Viper probe droid in here. Let me turn that on. I think I'm going to convert that to a smart object. I think it's transparent. It should be transparent, and we can throw that in here. I think that's a good size for that poster, and we are going to test our luck here. I'm going to put this Viper Pro Droid up here, and I'm going to paint bucket in, oops, no, just to, yeah, transparent.
Hey,
very cool.
Check that out.
So we are going to add some text to our wayfinder here. And I want to make it like, let's throw this in here. I'm gonna just write wayfinder because we want everybody to know what it is. We're gonna make this like the wayfinder is for sale. Okay.
Love it.
Where did it go? There it is. I like this font too for this, even though it's a little odd. Also, I'm just free transforming my text. I know people hate that. I do know.
I noticed that. I wasn't sure if it was constrained to the X and Y axis, but I'm like, hey.
I'm so sorry, but I do that sometimes. If I'm working on a client project, sometimes I don't do that. I make sure that all of my fonts have, set sizes and everything, and I make sure everything's consistent and all that. But like, I feel like I'm having fun right now, and I'm maneuvering things around and just trying to get it in place. And it doesn't really matter to me if I transform it one way or the other. Honestly, when I'm just working on a fun project, so I don't worry about it. And I unfortunately do free transform my text. I feel like Andrew Hawkreddle's shaking in his boots right now. He's just, what are you doing?
Rob said, squish and slam. Got it.
Yeah. I don't know how I feel about the font anymore. Maybe we should use do I have the Star Wars font?
Seems like it comes out of like Goosebumps, or some like
it does. Honestly,
youth horror novel or something.
What if we made it like that? Actually is a really cool idea. I actually like that, like, because it does kind of look like Goosebumps.
It does, yeah.
It really does look like it's supposed to be
creepy text or something.
Yeah, like a Wayfinder.
It's spooky, it's a Sith Wayfinder. It's spooky. It unveils spooky secrets.
We need the Wayfinder and the something something. The Wayfinder and the like. We need a title. It's a book title now. It's not a sales. It's not a sales promo anymore.
Yeah, like Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. Like
yeah.
Wayfinder and the this is where the chat comes in. Let us know, chat.
Yeah,
Would
give
be a
us
cool
something.
title using the word Wayfinder.
Yeah.
Wayfinder and the Coarse Sand. I don't know. Just thinking out loud here.
I'm usually really snappy with something like this. Like I feel like I can usually come up with something.
Wayfinder and the Secrets of Exegol, or
so that could work. Like I feel like that's like an 80s.
How much
like
on canon do we need to know? Yeah.
Yeah.
The Wayfinder and the Lost Jedi, Laura says. I like that.
There we go.
Cool.
There we go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hermagerd, Gersperms.
Gersperms.
Rob, you're a funny guy.
Oh, this is when it's not in cap. Oh, it's the same font. I've never used this font in caps. So it's like cursive and it's lowercase.
Huh.
And like caps not.
Oh, I like that.
That's
I like how that's
cool.
looking. Yeah.
Yeah, let's do like I kind of like it over top, but I don't know if that will work. But we could
I probably need a different color, see how it looks.
yeah, throw it like this, and what we can do is let's select this and we're going to put a clipping mask. Hey, my favorite thing, clipping masks, and my dissolve brush, the handy dandy noise brush. And what we'll do is we will play with color contrast. We will grab this green and we will throw that green right here.
Oh, I see what you're doing. Okay.
Yeah.
Now we're really getting Goosebumps vibes.
And then we will select the Jedi here, and we will make a clipping mask above that. Clipping mask, and we will select this color. And we will
Color contrast indeed. Very cool.
give it a little spice.
I like that. Very cool, Val.
A little spicy. So I feel like you can read it now, right?
Yeah.
Wayfinder
and the Lost Jedi. That's so good. Thank you for that
really
suggestion, Laura. I think
yeah,
that really
brilliant.
works. Yeah.
Let's go ahead and duplicate this, and we're gonna put the. Oh, what am I doing? Do you see what I just tried to do?
I think you dragged a text layer into your artboard.
I just tried to drag it to where I wanted the word the.
Yeah.
Please don't. I'm so sorry. Please don't tell anybody I did that. This is a secret between me and you, chat.
So, not sure what you're doing there, but you know Photoshop way better than me.
Maybe it works that way. I don't know, Val. Teach us something.
Teach me something.
Show us. Okay, and we're gonna do the same thing with this. Why is it adding? There we go. I'm trying to hustle. I'm trying to hustle here. What?
Yeah,
what
we
how
got
are doing on
about
time?
6-ish minutes.
Okay. I'm going to be the quickest I've ever been, I think, on
Double
stream.
time.
Yes. In the meantime, though, let me know if anybody has any questions in the chat or any of that.
Yeah, let us know. Everybody's just agreeing. This is pretty darn cool. It's looking
Wayfinder and the Lost Jedi.
Wayfinder and the Lost Jedi.
This
How
is
fun.
really cool. I feel like I want to bump it up just slightly, and I might actually, because I love this so much. This was such a great idea from you, chat. I guess it was you said Goosebumps, Paco, and then we got a title from chat. I love this so much.
Yeah.
I think that I will actually add some more to it, to be honest, and just like really make it like a book, because it also kind of has like a Indiana Jones vibe, right?
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
It has like an Indiana.
Yeah, same title too, like, you know, Indiana Jones and Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yeah. So I just really like it. So we're going to leave that one there. The Wayfinder and the Lost Jedi. We got our Tatooine thing. And then in our last few minutes here, what I'm going to do is make a new layer. And I don't think that we can label everything in our little Viper Droid spec sheet here. But what we can do, is I can kind of build it out. So let me open up my libraries here, because I have this texture that I used on the Wayfinder.
Nice.
And I'm going to throw that back here, and I'm going to see what that looks like if I decide to throw it in the back. That's kind of cool. It's a little kind of, there we go. Okay, now we're getting somewhere. So that's very subtle, but we're going to take a dark color because we're going to, we want it to be interesting in the back, because it's going to be like a poster that has like little indicators that show details of the robot, the droid off. But we want to make sure that it's not so busy that we won't be able to see the awesome information that we put here. So I'm going to go like this and just put like some subtle texture. I'll make another layer, and I want an even darker color. And the reason why is because I want to, I don't know if that's too much. I might just need to subtract from here. I want to use contrasting colors in the background to kind of build this visual aid to seeing the details of the droid, if that makes sense.
Nice. Yeah. Yeah, it's bringing them out a lot more.
And what I might do is, instead of lightening that back there, is I might come over here to the probe droid and do a clipping mask and hit B and grab this dark color, and I might just darken the legs.
Okay.
There we go. And then I'll grab this light color. How are we doing on time?
We have 5 minutes.
Okay. So now we can see it, because I darkened those legs in the background to make them really look like they're in the background, and then I brightened the little grabby hands and arms that are in the foreground.
Hands.
The grabby hands.
I love that.
And then the last thing I think is I kind of want to mellow it out, and I don't know if this will work, but we can grab like this dark color. Oops, not on you.
Blend mode it.
Yeah, I want to blend mode it. I don't know if it should be that, because that's pretty what I just don't want is for it to be so saturated, because I feel like the droid can be saturated, but if the background is also very saturated, then it is going to distract from what the focal point is. So maybe I'll do subtract, and then I will just kind of fade it back in a little bit so that it's very slight. I can also mess with the curves, or of this. Maybe I'll just edit the oh no, what we could do,
what's that?
I wonder if we could add a white stroke.
Yeah, like a little glowy stroke thing.
Yeah, and it's not extra clean, because I painted this, but I can mask out a lot of this stuff, and we can just put the stroke there to really give it some definition, so that I don't have to tweak the background too much, and we can clean it up. And then what I'd like to do in these last few moments is I want to do stuff like this. So we're going to talk about the eye. So we're gonna, oops, let me grab this, and we'll get a white brush. And is this a different layer? Yes. So I want to do stuff like this. Let's click here and do that. We'll talk about the grabby hand. We'll talk about this weird little, thing right here. What's this thing over here? What is this? Maybe this comes out like so. Over here, maybe we talk about this weird little guy. And then we could have, because we can't, we don't have time for it right now, but we can have like little points of interest written about all of this stuff, which I'll finish it. If you guys want to tweet to me funny things we can put on this robot, I will put them on, and then I will tweet it so that you folks can see all of the strange little goings on with this droid, so that we can add it. But I just wanted to at least give you like a really good visualization of what I plan, and how this would eventually look. So we've got our Tatooine postcard, and I think we're coming to way the end of time here. So we've got our Forever Probe Droid poster, which will be complete very soon. We have got our Greetings from Tatooine, Double the Sun, Double the Fun postcard, and we have got our The Wayfinder and the Lost Jedi story cover.
Good. I really like how that one came
one.
out.
Yeah,
I really like how that one came out. That's pretty fun.
And I couldn't have done it without you guys. I really couldn't have.
This is why we do this. This is community designing. It's fun. The suggestions spark new sparks.
But I hope you guys enjoyed this. I had a really good time. I feel like we came, even though we didn't finish the probe droid diagram, I feel like we created 3 really solidly put together pieces as Star Wars tributes, and I feel like they all have their own unique flair and flavor. So I'm happy with them.
Yeah, I agree that they are one more time. I think these came out super cool, and it was super fun hosting you, Val. It's been really fun. I don't always come out of the behind the scenes to host, but if it's Star Wars and it's got Val, I'm there. So it's been a blast.
Thank you. It's always a pleasure.
It's been really fun
to be hosted by you, and I know we're coming to the end, so I will say farewell to all you folks. Please stick around because there's more cool stuff. You know,
a lot more cool stuff. We got Julia Vaca with the Illustrator Daily Creative Challenge, and then we'll have Brady from Texture Labs finishing up his Star Wars propaganda posters. So check those out. Don't go anywhere.
All right, adios, folks.
All right, everybody. See you later. Bye bye.